Welcome to Fantasy and Faith, where Muslim storytelling meets myth and magic, weaving faith, history, and imagination into unforgettable worlds. In this episode, I will be examining how rituals and rhythms can be used to enhance the creative process. I will also be providing an update on all the writing projects I have planned, sharing my thoughts on season 1 of Fantasy and Faith coming to a close, and providing you with a taste of what's to come in season 2. From ancient traditions to modern practices, rituals and rhythms have always played a key role in human creativity. What are rituals? Rituals are regular tasks and events that we take part in to the point that their actions and words become formulaic and part of how we do it. Rhythms are slightly looser and perhaps not as meaningful as rituals. Imagine that it is nearly dinner time. Mum is in the kitchen plating the food up. Dad is laying the table, setting down the cutlery and glasses in the exact spot that each of you sit at every day. He calls out to you and your siblings to come downstairs for food. These are normal actions with very little meaning. However, because they are repeated on a daily basis, they become routines. Each person knows their role in the interaction. Each person knows where the other fits in, and even the words used are the same, perhaps even delivered in the same tone. Sometimes someone may change the interactions up. Maybe the kids are laying the table and dad is in the kitchen. Maybe the kids are surprising their parents with a meal they have prepared. Even these infrequent changes have their own rituals, their own way of doing things. We only realize that they are important when we don't do them. Maybe because someone is away from home, or late from work, or feeling unwell. There's a sense of strangeness and of something missing. The normal rhythms of life have been disrupted. Rituals are something more than the mundane. For instance, on Eid days, we have a bath in the morning, dress in our best or new clothes, apply attar, and then head to the masjid. The Imam is delivering a speech which normally ends with instructions on how to do the Eid prayer. He leads the prayer and then stands on the mimbar, the pulpit, to deliver two sermons in Arabic. After the sermons, he will do a collective prayer for the congregation, and then everybody gets up to meet everyone else. My family and I tend to stand at the front, shake hands with people, embrace our neighbors and friends, pass on well wishes. Then we will go over to meet with the elders and the infirm. Each of these things is part of a set of rituals. Some sacred because they are part of the religious rituals, and some because we have done these same things every year, twice a year, for a couple of decades, to the point that they have also become ritualized. Cultural anthropologists, sociologists, and psychologists have been studying rituals for years. The more important the ritual, the more rigid and formulaic the performance of it becomes. Every action takes on significance and must be performed exactingly in a specific order. The example of the Eid prayer, the actions of the Imam are meaningful because they are ritualized to protect the way the prayer was performed by the Prophet Muhammad وسلم, and his companions. Anhum. The actions of my family after the prayer are not sacred as the Eid prayer, but are still symbolic and formulaic because of the repetition and the expectations of their performance. The rituals and rhythms of writing are unique to each writer. For instance, some writers like to go out for a walk in the morning to boost their mood and clear away the fog of sleep. Charles Dickens was known to take walks in the streets of London, perhaps taking inspiration from the normal lives that he would witness transpiring on his daily wanders. Others like to put on a fresh pot of coffee or do the housework before they sit down to write. Hemingway liked to get up really early and write before dawn. He found it to enhance his productivity and improve his mental clarity. Many authors like to set a daily word count that they work towards. Take Stephen King, who writes 2,000 words daily and sticks to that principle to produce a regular output of novels. My writing rituals and rhythms are based around my day job, my prayers, and my family commitments. Monday through to Thursday, I write for an hour in the evenings. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday mornings are my prime output times. Sometimes I'll write on Saturday and Sunday afternoons, though usually if I've missed my morning stint or if there is a deadline coming up. Currently, I am prioritizing the completion of amendments to my thesis, so much of my writing time is being taken up by that. I like to write my blog and podcast posts on Friday mornings. I've also taken to recording my solo podcasts straight after I finish scripting it. I like to try and get any chores I've done before I sit down to write to prevent myself from procrastinating. I am a serial procrastinator. Sometimes when I'm distracted, I'll put my phone on charge and out of reach so that I can't play games on it or go through my YouTube shorts or um, go on social media. Occasionally, I will pause after a blast of writing just to freshen up a little bit, or when I'm struggling with something to check my socials to see if anyone's messaged me about future podcasts or um, collaborations, or just to see what other people are doing, whether they are also procrastinating. After about an hour or two, I get up and go make myself a coffee, but sometimes I'm smarter than that and make the coffee before I start working. I keep my reading glasses in a box on my desk near my keyboard. They have an anti-glare coating on them that helps reduce the likelihood of a migraine. I keep a bunch of reference books near hand too, usually in the little cupboard next to my keyboard. These include Fowler's Modern English Usage and Roget's Thesaurus, and various dictionaries, including English, Arabic, Persian, and Urdu. I have shelves of nonfiction books in arm's reach too if I want to do deeper research. Recently, I was gifted a remarkable tool which has allowed me to write away from my desk too. I normally write first drafts by hand and then type them up or transcribe them. The Remarkable 2 has built in handwriting recognition software that speeds that process up. My second draft is on my laptop. I have an extra screen set up next to my laptop for previous drafts, notes, or my Obsidian Vault. The second draft tends to be much bigger than the first draft. I print off my second draft and then edit it on paper, which now I'll probably do on the Remarkable, or will try to at least. The third draft is based on these edits and usually shaves off the biggest chunks of any draft. So in the Changeling King, for instance, the second draft was 120,000 words. By the third draft, I'd shaved off about 30,000 words. The fourth draft is spelling, grammar, and punctuation, and some more fine tuning. For previous books, I've sent out this draft to other writers and test readers for feedback. I use their feedback to make changes for draft 5. Draft 6 is a repeat of draft 4, so more fine tuning and correcting. And this is normally my final draft. That's my how it's done, the daily rhythms and rituals, as well as the cycles of writing and editing that I go through. Now for an update on my works in progress. I'm hoping to have my thesis amendments done by the end of July, then God willing, I will start back on writing Aladdin. I've not made much progress on that since my last update. Aladdin is talking to the genie in the cave. Princess Badr al-Budur is planning a daring escape from her royal chambers. The Sirah work, or the life of the Prophet ﷺ, is also on pause and to be restarted in August, inshallah. That will likely take me a few years to complete, though. My artist has produced the covers for Alauddin and Ali Baba and is now working on finalizing Sinbad. I will do a cover reveal in due course. Obviously, there's got to be a big fanfare and build up to that. And this is the start of that build up. My other novel is on the back burner. It's tentatively titled Farmer Soldier. I keep adding ideas and lore as and when they occur to me. This is good because I like to have the whole novel mapped out in my head before I start outlining it in detail. So now to review season 1 of Fantasy and Faith. Season 1 has been much about learning how to podcast and make the most out of YouTube, as it has been about sharing ideas. I've used a number of platforms and software packages to produce my podcasts, and will likely do a how-to video for anyone who may be interested in starting their own podcast. A lot of the content has been based on recent blog posts, but the last few have been written from scratch. I feel like I'm getting more confident with speaking into a mic. I want to thank my small community for their supportive comments and the questions that listeners have asked me. Please do continue to do that. If I can help guide another generation of writers, then I will consider the podcast a huge success. I did my first podcast guest interview with Hiba Halak. That has been one of the more popular episodes in the season. I'm thankful and grateful to her for agreeing to be my first guest. I'm also incredibly grateful to my family for their support, especially my mother who listens to every episode. She is my one and only super fan at the moment. Season 2 has already been planned and will feature some critically acclaimed and award winning authors, including the Queen of Grimdark, Anna Smith Spark, the sci fi and fantasy worldwide hit Adrian Tchaikovsky, and a longtime friend, um, James Barkley. Furthermore, the YouTube version of the podcast will be moving to a video format, so you get to see my annoying face as well as hear my irritating voice. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, then hit the notification bell. Season 2 will be launching on 8th August. In the meantime, thanks for joining me on Fantasy and Faith, and until next time, keep dreaming, keep writing, and let your stories shine.